Should you buy a Wii U in 2023? Let's talk about it. Hello there everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. Today I wanted to make a video discussing the Wii U and whether or not you should actually buy one if you don't already own one in the year 2023, because I've gotten some questions being like, why do you collect for Wii U? Should I buy a Wii U? The answer is probably no, but it's not quite that simple. So today I wanted to get into this and just talk about the Wii U, why I collect for it, but also if you should buy one if you don't already have one. So there are multiple different angles here for why you might want to buy a Wii U. My reasoning is that I grew up with the console, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Even though most of its exclusives are on Switch, which we'll get to, I have a lot of nostalgia for the console, and at a certain point I was just like, wow, I already have like half the games, so I'm just gonna go for a full set. So I'm going for a full Wii U set. But if you're not a collector, should you buy a Wii U? The answer is probably no. But like I said, it's not quite that simple. So I have a couple stacks of games here, and I want to get into why you probably shouldn't buy a Wii U just for the sake of playing Wii U games. So there are still some games that never made it over to Switch. There's a couple here that made it to 3DS, but never to Switch. Most notably for me, a game I got ported to 3DS that never came to the Switch is Yoshi's Woolly World. This is probably the best Yoshi game ever made, from Good Feel, of course, the creators of Epic Yarn and Crafted World. This is a fantastic game. If you like Yoshi, this is, I mean, that's a no-brainer, and it's not super expensive either. And that's the beauty of like first-party collecting for Wii U. Physical games, they're not really that expensive, at least not yet. There's a couple of examples. I didn't pull it, but Xenoblade Chronicles X, that's not on Switch. That's pretty pricey now, but for the most part, like your core Nintendo franchises actually remained pretty cheap. Another one here that has not come to the Switch is NES Remix. This is like a compilation of games where like you'll be playing as Link and Mario or Pit and you know, Excite Bike or something like that. Really fun game if you are a fan of NES games and just like the history of Nintendo. Another game that was actually a launch title that I think is probably one of the most underrated Nintendo games of all time, and that is Nintendo Land. I think this is probably the best pack-in Nintendo's ever done with a console. Mario 64 wasn't packed in, right? Yeah. Nintendo Land is fantastic. Just, once again, if you're a fan of Nintendo, like, as a whole, just a lot of fun fan service there. Here we have another one that I think is a little underrated. I think I might have rated it too highly when I played it, but I still enjoyed it from what I remember. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I'm still shocked this game never even came to 3DS. This one was a little bit more pricey. I think it's come down. If you played Canvas Curse, it's like that. You draw a Kirby, like a little path. He's a little ball. Very cute art style. And then this one I never got into as much, but I know some people do love it, and that is a Game & Wario. Not quite a WarioWare game, but more like a Wii Party kind of thing. Like, you know, less mini games, but a focus on higher quality mini games. For me, it didn't quite hit, but probably never leaving the Wii U because it uses the gamepad so much. A third-party game here, I'm including it just because I always get comments about it. I'm not really a fighting game fan, but people always say that if you are a Tekken fan, Tekken Tag 2 is like one of the greats. I have a sealed copy here. The cool thing about this is it actually has, I don't know if it's on the back. Yeah, you probably won't be able to really see it. There's Mario costumes and like Peach and stuff. So in a Tekken game, that's really funny. And then two final games that I think are actually really noteworthy, not counting Xenoblade X because I did forget it, are the remakes or remasters of the Zelda GameCube games. So we have Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. Now, 2 years ago, I think it was pretty clear these were coming to Switch. I would have bet $1 million they were coming to Switch. However, that has not happened. And with Tears of the Kingdom coming out later this year on Switch, it definitely makes me think whether or not these are even going to happen. I feel like if they were going to happen on this current Nintendo console, the Switch, it probably already would have, you know? So I feel like at this point they might save them for the next Nintendo console, at which point you're going to be waiting a couple more years minimum just to see these again. So if you're in like a quick, you know, you're itching for your Zelda GameCube fix, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, maybe get a Wii U literally just for these games. I would say these are probably the main reason for most people to get a Wii U at this point. Of course, it also has Breath of the Wild. It also has Hyrule Warriors. But these two right here, these are the definitive ways to play these games. And it doesn't seem like they're coming to Switch anytime soon. But not only that little handful of exclusives that remain, and there's some other weird third-party stuff, nothing major like Sonic Boom, obviously. But outside of that stuff, there are a lot of games that have come to Switch. However, if you're gaming on a budget, they're all really cheap. So I have a handful of games here on Wii U that all have Switch ports that are dirt cheap on the Wii U. Starting off, we have Hyrule Warriors. Now, with these, you're probably going to be missing a little bit of content that they added with the DLC or whatever. Hyrule Warriors, this is a fantastic game. Still, probably hundreds of hours of content in just that base game. Once again, though, Switch version definitely the more definitive choice there. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, this game's actually probably better on Wii U, and it's still cheaper than the Switch version. Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon I didn't grab, but Mario Kart 8 here. Right now, when I'm recording this, the servers for these games actually went down unexpectedly. I don't think they've come back yet. But Mario Kart 8, I mean, if you want to play Mario Kart 8 instead of spending $50 on Switch, you can spend like $10 on Wii U. Now, that, of course, doesn't have the Booster Course Pass, but still worth noting. A couple more here. Pokémon Tournament. This game is, I think, like $50 on Switch, probably 10 on Wii U. Really cheap game there. Pikmin 3, get yourself ready for Pikmin 4 later this year. The Switch version added a little bit of content, but not really enough to justify the extra price, in my opinion. I bought it, but, you know, that's another matter entirely. And then final one I grabbed here is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, or not Deluxe, because it's Deluxe on Switch. This is the version that included New Super Luigi U, which was the DLC campaign. This game is really good. People sleep on this one. If you like 2D Mario, you're gonna like this. There's also stuff like Mario Maker and, like I mentioned, Splatoon. Mario Party 10 is technically exclusive, but who really cares? So there is stuff there. Most of it has come to Switch, but if, like I said, if you're gaming on a budget, the Wii U options are definitely there, and they're much cheaper than on Switch. That being said, where I think the Wii U conversation gets a lot more interesting is when you talk about its other features. So the eShop might be going down in a few weeks when I'm recording this. However, first of all, it plays Wii games. Now, I didn't pull any of my Wii games off the shelf, but the Wii has a pretty good library. I don't think it has the best library ever for any Nintendo console. I'm not going to go that far, but it has a pretty good library. You know, you have your Mario Galaxies, your Skyward Sword, Metroid Prime Trilogy, Pikmin 1 and 2 are on there. There's a lot of great stuff on the Wii. Donkey Kong Country Returns, Punch-Out! All of these games can be played on the Wii. So, just from that merit alone, if you were going to choose one, I know the original Wii is cheaper than a Wii U. I would still say get a Wii U. If you were, like, new to Nintendo even, or if you just sold these when you were younger or something and want to rebuy them, don't get a Wii, get a Wii U. The other caveat there, though, and I mean, I could talk about how the Wii's backwards compatibility support's fantastic for hours, probably, because there's so much on Wii that is worth playing. Sin and Punishment, man, I saw my buddy Abram tweeted about that. He was playing that game. That game's fantastic. Rhythm Heaven Fever. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. I don't really talk about modding on this channel, but the Wii U is like a modding dream. So, I said get a Wii U instead of a Wii. I would say only really do that if you truly don't want to mod. Because the original Wii, the first models, and really most models, because they didn't change this until like 2009, I think, could play GameCube games. And the GameCube has an absolutely banger library, like probably the best of any Nintendo console outside of maybe the Switch. So the original Wii being able to play GameCube games is a huge win, especially considering you can just plug it in, use your GameCube controller with the ports on top, and you're good to go there. GameCube games are very expensive, however. Most people aren't going to want to pay those prices because they're all like $100 plus for like the main good Nintendo games. You know, Melee, Mario Kart, Paper Mario, that kind of thing. Oh, Color Splash. I didn't pull that. That's exclusive to Wii U still. Sorry, Caleb. So if you don't want to mod, probably just get a base Wii if you're interested in GameCube games. However, if you are interested in modding in any way, get a Wii U. The Wii U, like I said, is basically a modder's dream. It is the ultimate Nintendo console, at least until the Switch gets a little bit more broken open. But even then, the Switch doesn't have this hunk of plastic here that allows for DS games to be played. So if you mod your Wii U, the options are basically limitless. You can play NES games, SNES games, N64 games, GameCube games through modding. Not discs, but through modding and, you know, ISO files and all that. You can play, of course, Wii games and Wii U games, but it doesn't stop there. You have the option to play pretty much their entire handheld history with the exception of 3DS. So you can play Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and most notably for me, Nintendo DS. So, once again, the eShop is closing on March 27th. If you are not going to mod this console, most of those classic offerings are going to be pretty much unavailable. But if you want to mod, people even do, like, injections is what they call them. Basically, you know, like, Pokemon Platinum never got released on the Wii U eShop, but because that emulator is in place there, because Nintendo made an emulator for it, people have made it so that you can play Pokemon Platinum on your Wii U. So if that is of interest to you, if you are kind of looking to get into Nintendo as a whole on a budget, I would say the Wii U is probably the best console just for that. Just for experiencing the history of Nintendo, having as many options to play as many games as possible. That is why you should buy a Wii U in 2023. If you do not want to mod, which I completely understand, I don't particularly love dealing with that kind of stuff, putting the SD card in the computer. I do it, but I don't like doing it, really. Not from, like, any moral disappointment. I don't care about that stuff, but, like, it's kind of just cumbersome. I don't want to deal with that. I like to put the disc in and play a game. That's why I collect games also. But if you do not mind doing that, the Wii U is an absolute blast. Now, if you do mind doing that, I would say, once again, it's a little bit harder to say whether or not you should buy one. I would lean towards no. But if you want to play some cheaper games, like, Mario Kart and Pikmin 3 instead of buying them on Switch, or if you want to play especially Wii games, the Wii U is your best bet. But once again maybe it's better to just buy the original Wii so you can actually play GameCube discs. That would maybe be more of interest to you. But either way, the Wii U it's an interesting console for Nintendo because most of its exclusives have come to the Switch. Once again, they're cheaper on Wii U basically across the board. Other than that, unless you mod, most of its history has jumped ship to the Switch, So that's what I would say. If you're interested in modding and playing classic games like that, DS games, GameCube games, pretty much the history of Nintendo, the Wii U is a no-brainer. Get a Wii U, mod it, download all those games, and you're going to have a fun time. But if you don't want to do that, maybe hold off. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you planning on buying a Wii U in 2023? And if so, what are you planning on doing with it? Are you going to mod it? Or are you just going to keep it pure, untainted, and just, play your discs? Perfectly justified in either way. I respect both choices for sure. And if not, let me know, do you already have a Wii U? And is it modded? Once again, I don't really talk about modding on this channel too much. People think I don't know how to mod for some reason. Oh, I do. I just like collecting games because I think it's fun. And I like owning the physical piece of plastic. I've never even played this game. So let me know, what do you think down in the comments below? Are you picking up a Wii U this year, or do you already have one, of course? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more Wii U and 3DS content, especially from me, subscribe here so you don't miss a single video. Of course, you can also follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. And until next time, folks, bye-bye.